What's up, dudes and dudettes? Let's go. Talking Cleveland Tuesdays is back, and we are excited for this one. Awesome guest here tonight, Matt Fontana of ESPN 850 Cleveland. He's in the back room. We'll get him in right after we go over these great sponsors to help make this show possible and also help power the Dude Network here on, well, it's the Dude Network. I don't know that one badly, but furthermore, here we go. Cleveland Whiskey, the official shots, are brought to you by Cleveland Whiskey. Check out the Christmas bourbon that's out there. You got not one, not two, but three different collector's bottles this year with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame theme. If you're outside of Ohio, don't worry. 14 other states have just the right thing for you, mainly the Wheat Penny, the Magic Rabbit, which is a chocolate peanut butter whiskey, and also the Underground Network Black Cherry Bourbon. And also out of Lakewood, Ohio, Branch. It's barbecue, it's ranch. You know it's effing amazing. And also don't forget about the Fieldhouse Mustard, the silver winner at the National Mustard Show this year. There was thousands and thousands of entries, and they got second overall. Quite the accomplishment for this startup company out of the Cleveland area. Everyone, please go sure to check them out. And lastly, the other third wheel of this Ohio trifecta, Redbeard Seasoning out of Willard, Ohio. More than just Charlie Fry, home of great barbecue blends. The Wild Game's out. That's a big one right now for deer season. You also got the honey chipotle, the Ohio pork rub, the street corn, the spicy chipotle, the honey chipotle, the steak and brisket, and on and on and on and on. Don't forget about the Bloody Mary, too, if you're looking for that little Sunday cocktail spicy little spice there. So without further ado, our main guest of honor here tonight, coming out of ESPN 850 Cleveland. You've all been listening to him for years and have been following along on his journey. And he is just, he's killing it up there, man. He knows more about Cleveland than most people will ever forget. Super excited to have him on. Looks like the beard is in full force. The lake winter is coming in. He's trying to insulate the jawline. Without further ado, dudes and dudettes, Matt Fontana. What's up, dude?
What's up, Tony? You got to tell my wife that because she's like, it's going, right? And I go, no, it's the wintertime. You got to keep your beard for the wintertime. So
tell her not until the Browns win a Super Bowl.
Well, that might be a little while. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe
February.
Come on. We'll see. Yeah, even then, that'll be a long time.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be something. That'd be the epic. We're not there. We're not there today. We're not there today. Maybe tomorrow. But what is going on right now, though, is, the guards. I'm officially in on the guards. I mean, come on. I mean, what they did this year, Indians who I know a lot of people are still hung up on it. I'm still an Indians fan at heart. But, man, hey, can we all agree if the guards pull this out and make a run, that we'll never talk about the Indians ever again and the name change?
I mean, it should be that way. I mean, the Guardians have never lost a playoff game, at this point, and it was going good for a little while. I mean, they're still obviously in this game, but yeah, I mean, I think it's different where we've had teams that you show up and you knew that they were going to be so good, like in the 90s. Like, I feel like there's so many people that are captivated by that,
right?
Era of baseball where that was different, right? You knew straight up that this team was going to be good. They mashed home runs. This team's different. They weren't supposed to be here. They don't hit home runs. It's a bunch of guys nobody knew about. They had how many guys make their major league debut this year? I mean,
how many guys on the league? How many guys on the league minimum?
Yeah, right. Garrett Cole tonight. I mean, he's making almost as much, or like I think it's half of what the Guardians' whole roster is. That's what's on the hill for the Yankees tonight. So, to do it that way, to find some of these guys, and they, I think even for the future, this year's like a bonus for me. Everybody said next year after that, the White Sox. I mean, the White Sox will probably still be there. I think the Twins are coming back up, but this division should be yours to run for a couple of years, and then they have how many guys in the minors? All these guys are young. I mean, they're setting it up for the way that they want it to be, and that's how they're going to have it.
I think like the sky is really the limit now. It's going to be hard to really have a better chemistry than what this team's probably got. Like with the first year, all these like AAA guys that had to gel together, but they literally leaned on each other all year. Like, you're never going to get a year 2 of that. There's only 1 year of it. But also, though, there's maybe a little bit of influx of maybe this very elusive thing we've had called depth that we've never really had. Right. The influx of the new ownership money, us not spending much money this year. Now we're getting playoff money coming in. So hopefully, I will say in years past, as many the Dolans, I'm not a big fan of their budget over the years. But I will say, anytime there's been a long playoff run, it seems like they've taken some of that money and invested it back into the team the following year. I will say they've always been pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think so. And then you talk about, you mentioned Blitzer coming in. If there really is, and I don't know if there is or isn't, but I just assume that there might be a plan for him to eventually take it all the way over. So if you were the Dolans, again, this is just me, but if it were the Dolans, wouldn't you want to kind of on your way out, just go for it or put it all in? And then once Blitzer's in there, it sounds like he's got enough cash to throw it around. But you got to maximize your dollars. You don't want to be a team that's just wasting money left and right. They'll never be able to do that in Cleveland, just waste money like the Yankees or the Red Sox or spend your way out of bad contracts. But I think if you combo how good this team is with finding talent and developing it, and then having a payroll that's even 15th or 16th in the league, that's scary. I mean, that's really scary.
Give us something.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, because they're doing this with bottom 4 payroll. They're still doing this. So imagine if they actually had a little more. And I don't even know, I would look at it and I would want to say signing a bunch of guys or, outside. Just keep the guys that are here. Just if you can even keep some of these guys here, like what a change that would be for this.
Just
squad.
An old veteran bat that you can just anchor in that DH spot that can just go out and blast like 45 bombs. And just hook them up. Well, we did that once, like with the Edwin Encarnacion. That was a nice fit. That one panned out.
Yeah, and especially with like that at the time, obviously before Jose, that was the biggest contract the team had ever, handed out. It was like $84 million or something like that. So
it's like $20 million a year over the first 3 with like a 24. No way they were going to pay an option for the 4th or something like that.
Right, and like that's peanuts to some of these other teams or what some of these other guys are asking for. So they're playing it a little bit different, but I think it's really cool to see that they're so successful, with playing. And again, people get on me because I give them credit for having to do it a different way. And people are like, oh, well, they do it to themselves or they tie their own hands behind their back. And I go, that's just not again, we're not in, I love Cleveland. I'm born and raised. I love it here, but it's not New York. It's not LA. There's not going to have that money, and they keep doing it the right way.
Yeah, if there's one thing that needs to be emphasized is Antonetti and Tita Francona need like 5 statues each, on each outfield wall for the job that they have done with what they've had to work with. It makes Moneyball look like they won Jeopardy, with the budget they've been working with up there. And it is still 1-1 in the top of the 5th. Anybody watching live, for some reason, watching this instead of the game. And don't worry, it is up afterwards if you want to watch
full replay. Oh yeah.
You'll be able to replay it. But no, man, it's been really nice. And I think on the one thing you talked about, originally the reports of the Blitzer was there's like a 5-year succession plan. It was like started out at 35%. And then like at the end of 5 years, there's an option where he would become like at least majority owner or something like that.
Yeah. And again,
I don't know. That could have changed.
Right. That could change a lot. I mean, it could be very different on just how, again, the Dolans don't have to give it up. I'm assuming it's kind of maybe right, but like you don't start this process. And I've always said this too. Like I appreciate the Dolans. I think they've done it right, but it's just different now. It's just different where most owners outside of football with, you got the stories of people that's, their father or their grandfather bought a team, back in the 70s for a couple $100 million. Now it's worth billions and billions, and they can just literally run the football team as being their moneymaker. For other people, it's their hobby. They made billions of dollars doing something else, and then it's their hobby. That's what the Guardians have to be for somebody. The Dolans ran it as their sole, really income type thing. Can't do that. Blitzer's got his money, so hopefully he can run it. A little like Dan Gilbert. I know basketball's different, but yeah, Dan Gilbert has no problem cutting checks to go win championships. He did it. He's going to continue to do it. Yeah. It's his hobby. It's what he does.
He likes to win chips with his, some of us like to go buy some nice bottles of bourbon, like, Cleveland whiskey. By the way, I don't know if apple cider sour.
So I saw when you brought Cleveland whiskey on, the black cherry bourbon is hands down one of my favorite. I actually, one of my prized possessions, actually my wife got me years ago, a batch 001 of Cleveland whiskey. I still have it. It's in my bar.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I haven't opened it.
I'll have to let them know, man. They'll be excited to hear.
Oh no, I love it. Because I haven't opened that one. I'm holding on to that one. But
so bourbon guy then, huh?
I'm getting into it more. I'm still pretty novice. I enjoy it very much. So like I dabble. I try, all of it. I do like scotch. I like bourbon. I like whiskey. I've got bottles down here that it's kind of funny because I've got bottles that, like, I got a bottle of Blanton's for my birthday. I don't want to drink that every weekend. That's like special, occasion type stuff. So one of my go-tos is Cleveland whiskey because it's always available. It's very reasonably priced, and I down that black cherry like nobody's business. So that one I don't feel guilty drinking. So that one's all good.
And this one that one was made with the Black Reserve, which is like $30 a bottle.
Yeah,
like,
you can't beat it. It's so good. I've had the apple. I heard you talking about their Christmas bourbon. I got that from my father-in-law a couple of years ago. That one's always a big hit too. So
yeah, that one was. I had to film a cocktail because I live in the social media space. That was an apple cider sour with the Black Cherry Reserve with like Honey Crisp apple slices muddled up in it, man.
Oh, you can't beat that.
That's come on. Hey, apples, man. Ohio. We're talking Cleveland.
It's the season.
Obviously, you're born and raised in Cleveland. I'm like an hour and a half south of you, about a little bit south of Canton area, but very familiar with Cleveland. This is Cleveland. We talk everything Cleveland. Obviously the Guards still 1-1 middle of the fifth. But we got the Browns, it's a sore subject, but we still love them. We already know that as seasoned Browns fans, we're already over Sunday. We're looking forward to next Sunday. The Cavs, we got to talk about them a little bit here yet, with the excitement surrounding that team this year out of left field. That even they like, oh wait, there's more off season for the Cavs. But let's talk about Cleveland. Let's talk about your food scene, man. You're born and raised. There's so many different boroughs. Dalen McCutcheon was on a couple weeks ago, and he called Cleveland the most segregated city he'd ever been in. And he didn't mean it in a bad way. He just meant like there's so many communities in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So describe your community, what part of Cleveland you grew up in, and like, your last name ends in an A. I don't want to assume nothing, but tell us about what your family and culture was like growing up in the city of Cleveland that has 8 million different kinds of culture.
Oh yeah, for sure. So obviously Italian, specifically Sicilian. My dad's grandfather immigrated from Sicily. So perfect, right? Yeah. So Little Italy is always a good part, but heavy Irish too on my mom's side. So I thought always the two best parts to do it right there. Exactly right. So I grew up in Brunswick, so I'm a little actually closer down kind of your way in Medina County that way. So I grew up there, born and raised there. Didn't go too far. Went to college in Berea at Baldwin Wallace, and my wife and I live in West Park now. So we literally live in Cleveland. I've never lived anywhere else. I've only ever been here. People say, "Oh, you didn't want to get out and travel," and I was like, "Not really. I've seen it all. I enjoyed it here. I don't really plan on going anywhere either. It's perfect for everything. We have our son now, so raising him here is a complete dream." And you mentioned the boroughs, like it's got everything. Like I think I enjoy the change of the season now. Like now is my favorite time of the year, but you can go find yourself a complete high class steak dinner somewhere. You can go find a hole in the wall bar that's got good food and a beer you've never heard of before to try. I love a lot of the restaurants, Tremont, Ohio City, all that kind of stuff, getting out about when you can. I love, talking about whiskey and beer, but even the beer, I'm a big beer guy too. So being able to get out and try all the different breweries and stuff like that. Like I can't beat it, man. Yeah, I can't beat it. It's so good. I love it.
I'm jealous that right there. I mean, you're real close to the big fat heads with it's like I don't know. Was it the world's or country's longest bar or something like that?
They might, like, I know it made me think of Put in Bay, because Put in Bay's got they have a bar that claims they're the world's longest bar. So that was the first thing I thought
they tried to do something.
They tried to do something
long there. Yeah. I'm trying to for everybody outside.
Like I think it was a beer garden maybe or something like that.
Yeah, it's massive. It's literally it's like picnic tables, like probably like 5,000 square foot.
Yeah, maybe. And then the cool thing
then the bar.
And then the bar. And then you can also do self-guided beer tours when you go there, because they have like the beer hall when you go in. They have some really good brews. They have some really good beer there. So like
the original has some of the best food too.
They got those headwiches. They're massive sandwiches. You can't even finish one in one sitting. So I always like going there too, because you have dinner for the next night too.
Oh my god, yeah,
that sandwich when you're there.
I'll admit I get 2 appetizers when I'm there, because like it's just so overwhelming. Like I feel so not good about. I'm already fat. Like I don't need to celebrate it. And a fat witch is celebrating your gluttony. And I was just like, not today, Satan. So I went with the pierogies. They had these killer pierogies, and then they had like the Taste of Cleveland, which was 4 kinds of brats from different parts of Cleveland, and it had like 3 or 4 different dipping sauces, like Burtman's, like all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
nothing as good as Fieldhouse mustard from Branch, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
And plug, and then you get it.
Trust me very much.
You know it.
Oh,
yeah, you live in Plug
yeah.
City, man. You guys are like, you guys are machines up there.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But yeah, it's anyway. But Fatheads is great. So yeah, so you grew up, like you just nailed it, man. Like whatever you want, you can get. So what does Matt Fontana and his wife date night? You got a place to go, any place to go. One of the listeners called in and said, "Hey, man, wherever you want, I got your tab tonight."
Oh, that'd be a dangerous thing to do sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is like I very much enjoy finding new beers. Like I can go there, and get an IPA that I like, or find, but like I have that Untapped app. It's basically like Facebook for beer. So you check in beers that you try, and like my favorite thing is to find a beer that none of my friends have tried, or like I've never tried before. So really, it's any place that's got over 15 taps, 20 taps that has something on tap that I've never had before. It's my kind of place to go. But you talk about whiskey and bourbon. I do work with Char Whiskey Bar and Grill in Rocky River. They have 300 whiskeys. So you go in there and there's same thing. Yeah. You go in there, there's not going to be one that, there's going to be one you've never tried before. Like I can guarantee
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And that's like, as I started getting into bourbon and trying it, cause like when I was a knob, when I first started, I was like, I don't know, taste difference from this and that, but now going there and just expanding my palate, I'm like, okay, I can start to kind of figure out, what I really like. But, we enjoy that. We enjoy going to 25th. Nano Brew's an awesome place. Great Lakes Brewing Company's a lot of fun.
Great Lakes is awesome.
Yeah, I love Great Lakes. Big fan of a lot of their beers too.
You can like walk to the original Heisman house where John Heisman was born.
Yeah.
There, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Tremont. We've been to Parallax before there. They have there's a new brew that just opened in Tremont too that we've been meaning to try. But yeah, I mean, just getting out and about. It's always the fun thing. There's a lot of great bars, a lot of great restaurants all around town.
It's amazing. It really, really is. And like, you're even like, for all, so there's probably people like down where I'm at, when you graduate in like a small town and you never leave, they're like, oh, you've never left. But when you live in like Cleveland, you don't have to leave.
No,
there's literally something new to do like every single day of the rest of your life, and you still won't get to see everything. And that's and like Cleveland, I guess that was the inspiration for like the whole show is like Cleveland we all know, like you work in like the, a much bigger media, you get a lot of outside in the ESPN network. Like Cleveland doesn't get a lot of love, and it gets a lot of like sideward digs, a lot of jokes, a lot of jabs. But man, people just don't know. Like, it's one of the easiest cities to travel around. There's like 5 interstates that go through Cleveland. There's like hardly ever any traffic jams. There's any kind of food you can think of. It's one of the few cities that's got all 3 major professional sports teams.
Right.
It's everything. Every concert you could think of, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, that's just obvious stuff.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, man. It's like, yeah, we're here to brag it up a little bit. So that's awesome. So here's a question: since you've joined ESPN Cleveland, it's probably put you out in places that you've never heard of. So what's that like, getting to see different parts of Cleveland that even as a kid growing up in Cleveland that you never would have even imagined existed?
Yeah, I mean, getting out, starting when I did, we were, in the heyday of LeBron, being successful with the Cavs, and then certainly his second run coming back and winning the championship. So just that notoriety, or just, having so many people tuned in. Cavs Parade was nuts. Getting out and about is always fun too. We've done the trips. We did. We used to go to the Detroit trip every year. We'd always go up with the Indians, Guardians, for trips like that. Yeah, we went down. Some of the crazy places. We down to Amish country to do a remote at Layman's Hardware, which is like
right by there today. By the way,
yeah. I mean, like we'd go down there and it'd be funny because, to go that far south for us, we would have people lined up just to enjoy the show, because they go, we listen every day, the signal gets down there, but we never see you guys because you never, rarely ever leave Cuyahoga County, to get down there and that kind of stuff, covering Ohio State, to be, on the field for a couple of Ohio State games, with some of the cool stuff earlier in my career. But yeah, I mean, it's been, it's just cool because, like you mentioned, with Cleveland having 3 sports teams, I've got buddies that, grew up here and then, took other jobs and they've moved to other cities, and they're in major markets, and they would just tell me like, dude, you don't understand. Like, Cleveland cares. I'm here in these cities, in these the fans either only care about, even if it's a city of multiple professional sports teams, they only care about the football team or they only care about the basketball team. They don't really care about the other one. And he goes, I took Cleveland for granted because people care year round. Sometimes with the Guardians, it takes them being in the playoffs or them really doing something special to get people on board.
It's such a long season, man.
It is, but people pretty much always support the Browns, good or bad, and the Cavs get obviously a lot of love, throughout all of it. So he's like, I've had a couple buddies tell me like nothing's really at Cleveland just from a support standpoint, which is obviously great, for what we do and talking sports because people are always going to be interested and wanting to know what's going on with everybody.
And like us, like all the Cleveland diehards, man, like what a time to be alive. But Browns have buzz. I mean, I know it's been disappointing, but at the end of the day, when you're without your starting quarterback that you went all in on for 11 weeks, you kind of the season. I think people had false hopes for the season. I was pretty realistic about it, and it's not over. But no. I was like, hey, if we're close to 500 when we get them back, like great, But we just talked about the guards. Great year. I'm rocking a Buckeyes shirt, which isn't normal, but they're
doing just fine. They're doing all right.
They're now the betting favorites to win the national title, which we legally cannot do until January 1st. Please get here. And then
recreational credits only as we do it on our shows.
Yeah. Units. Yeah, units.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Units.
Credits.
Yeah, 5,000 units. Yeah, like Uncle Rizzy's not betting. Yeah, he's betting units. All right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not here to talk about that. All right.
Eventually, like I said, I'll come back on. Like January 2nd. We'll be able to talk about it all.
Yeah, but then also the Cavs, man.
Sure.
We already returned a team that was already like top middle of the pack, but it wouldn't surprise anybody if they went on a run and dominated the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
But then they go out and get the Spida, Donovan Mitchell, at his still youth's 26, 27-year-old age.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 4 or 5 years left in his prime before he starts on the decline. And, he gave up like Lauri Markkanen, and like, believe it or not, there were some people that were like actually a little upset that we lost him. I was like,
I had a buddy that was super upset.
I was like, are we talking about? I was like, I already forgot he existed. I was like, I don't get it. Like, I get it. We got Dean Wade, man. Like, Dean Wade is the Lauri Markkanen replacement. He does better on anyway. Different argument. Sorry. See, this is my brain, man. Matt.
No, it's like I get it because like, and that's the thing. Kind of goes back if we talk about the passion, right? Everybody knows every guy on the roster. They know exactly, they have a take on this. Like we had a lot of conversation about Colin Sexton, right? And it's, was I in a way sad to see him go? Sure. But to pull that kind of trade off was a once in a lifetime thing for Kobe Altman, the probably the biggest trade in Cavs history behind Kevin Love, probably. Certainly, got the championship. But this one was massive. And, I had the same thing. People were like, oh man, I had to get rid of Sexton. And I go, you got Donovan Mitchell. And to do it without giving up one of the key three, which even Mitchell himself was shocked that happened. That they didn't have to give up Allen, Mobley, or Darius Garland. Like, he was jacked. And that's the thing. They've put themselves in a good situation where, to win the East, I don't know, there's probably some pretty good teams. They should be hosting a playoff series, though. They should be a top 4 seed, in my opinion, no question this year.
You want to know what the biggest X factor for me in that trade was that no one, and I've had, and you can, if you ever bump into Surya, he'll tell you, like, hey, how does Tony Lane feel about Isaac Okoro? And he'll be like, he has a serious love affair with that guy. If you look at his wins replacement, his plus minus, if you go back and look at every box score of plus minus, Okoro was like top 3 on the team every single game. Not every single game, but majority, a vast majority, and he very rarely put a negative in the plus minus. He's
if he just hit that corner 3 a little more consistent, I'd have no problems with his defense, and I know that's why they drafted him. He gets those opportunities, certainly. If he just hit that corner 3 at just like a 5% better clip, I don't think there'd be any question that he would be your perfect 3 for this lineup in this rotation.
And I would counter that we have 4 other guys we're paying a lot of money to hit
to do that,
3.
Right?
And his job's like, you shouldn't be relying on Okoro to hit the game-winning 3 with those 4.
Right, exactly.
Again, Passionate at its finest here on Talkin' Cleveland Tuesdays on the Dude Network. Look at us. By the way, the damn Yankees are up 2-1, top of the 5th, top of the 6th. So that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not. Yeah. Screw them.
If I keep looking, it's because I am watching the game as I'm looking.
Okay. Yeah. So you are.
Yeah. I mean, but,
what happened? I missed who scored.
I looked down too. I didn't see. I looked up and I saw it. But I'm assuming they hit home runs that, and tonight it looked like that ball was jumping a little bit. So
yeah. Well, when you're playing in Williamsport's regulation right field wall size,
dude, I think I could hit one out of that part. Like, it's ridiculous. It's
my
so
4-year-old
bad.
who can't even swing a bat at a tee can hit one out at Yankee Stadium,
bad.
man. Upper deck monster.
I know. And that's, good for Stephen Kwan getting that one, because I actually was reading today, somebody actually kind of called that. They thought he was going to get it done, and he did. But they're going to need – I mean, here's the thing. You're not beating the Yankees 2-1, like you did against the Rays, so they had to put up some runs for sure.
Yeah, they got – and Garrett Cole gave him an opportunity, that bases loaded third.
You figured that was going to be a real moment right there when they didn't score more. And, his pitch count's up, because this might be his last inning, but we'll see, because they got a decent bullpen. They got a lot of injuries back there, but –
I hate we lost the one, but we still got a good bullpen. So, honestly, now that this, in your opinion on this Guardians thing, a bunch of rookies, they won a series.
Yeah.
Does that make them the most dangerous team that's not a 1 or 2 seed in the MLB playoffs the rest of the way? You got a young team that now thinks they can.
Yeah. I mean, I think the experience certainly, and like a lot of these guys, tonight's their first away playoff game. That was their first playoff series. Now it's their first away playoff game. They're in New York, which is not an easy place to play. I get it. But I also, with this team, sometimes they don't know what they don't know, right? So they don't know exactly how to handle this, or they just go out there and play. They're not all tight. The Yankees came into this. They have expectations to win the World Series. They're the Yankees. They should always be that way. They spend that way. They have these players, so they have those expectations, to get it done, to back it up. Garrett Cole, $36 million. Dude, you better go out there and win, playoff games. And he's pitching pretty well, so far tonight. But I think the best thing about this team is, like you said, the camaraderie, the togetherness with this squad. I think Terry is probably one of his best managerial jobs he's ever done, and that includes getting to the World Series, with them back in 2016. But this one's been super impressive to get these guys here, and I think kind of like have them believe, right? Because sometimes rookies come up and they go, do I belong here? Or can I make this as a thing? Or, guys that go, man, if I don't get 2 hits today, they're going to yank me out of this lineup, or they're going to send me back down. They just kept plugging guys in. And like, even Stephen Kwan, I mean, everybody's going to hit slumps. Not everybody's going to be perfect, but he never hit that like rookie wall. Even on adjustments, even seeing pitchers for the
he had the second 30 days of the second month of the season was like a little rough, but he's still batted like 250.
Right, exactly. And then you talk about everybody's like, oh, they'll get a book on him. They'll get a book on Oscar Gonzalez, or they'll figure it out. And they're still just kind of plugging along. Now, next year might be a different year, and they might get figured out to a point. But I think for right now, for what they're doing, it's insane. So like to this series, to this point, to have that looseness, I think helps to like kind of go in there and say, hey, you're playing with house money. Nobody expected you to be here. Might as well go for it. Might as well try, but do what you do. Don't be swinging for the fences. Get guys on base, move the bases, run the bases well, and see, will it be enough to beat the Yankees? I don't know. I would like to think so, maybe, but it's super tough. It's hard.
I tell you what, man, it's going to be tough that next series, because Seattle had a chance to ice that tonight.
I know that. Yeah,
freaking trash throws once again. Just figure out a effing way, man. Like, I'm so over them, because everyone doesn't forget, if the Guardians and the Mariners would both win, the Guardians would be the home team in the ALCS. Yeah. So go Mariners.
Yeah, I'm all for that, obviously, and I think just to give Rob Manfred a heart attack, which would be. I don't wish ill will on him necessarily, but I can't stand
I do. I'll say it. I ain't got nothing to lose. I mean, you got a following, man. I got a bunch of dudes.
I say it on my show almost every week. Like, I think Rob Manfred sucks. He's terrible. He's ruining baseball. So there'd be nothing better. There'd be nothing better for me than that if they got the Guardians and the Mariners and the LCS, because that would be the worst thing that he would ever want. And that's just like something I want to do to stick to him. I can't stand him.
And then who would it be, like, what, the Cardinals and the Braves? Like, I mean,
I think as long, obviously they're going to want.
I'm trying to think of 4 small market teams that really stick it to that dude.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right. Atlanta, because like even if Philly made it out, I think there's a win-win with either Atlanta or Philly. They don't really care. They'd be fine with that.
As long as it's not the Dodgers.
Yeah, and the Padres too. Obviously, are big enough too. So I think the NL they care, but they don't. But certainly in the AL, they need the Astros and the Yankees to kind of come through on this. But
yeah,
hopefully somebody could play spoiler, because I don't want it to go chalk the whole way.
No. Well, at the end of the day, man, when Gary Bettman looks better than any other commissioner, that's when you know you got a bad commissioner. You know,
sure.
I mean, yeah, NHL stinks. You know,
yeah.
They did get better last year.
I think they're on their way. My Blue Jackets got Johnny Hockey, so I'm pretty excited about that. But
man, I'm not even like I keep track of the Blue Jackets.
Sure.
All I know is if it made the front page of ESPN.com and
big, right?
News, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. So I might even watch. Like, live games are awesome. I guess I just can't get into. I've tried. I got so much sports in my life, man. It's like it's so hard to add hockey into it.
Oh, I know, and that's kind of my thing. Is people say like, "Oh, you're an NHL fan." I go, "Nah, I'm just a Blue Jackets fan." I really can't tell you. Like, that's my kind of one sport to kind of like, disengage, so to speak, because we don't really cover them so well up here. So it's like I can truly just like I really only know who's on the Blue Jackets. I don't really know. Like, I know the Avalanche are good. I think the Lightning are good again. Still good.
Yeah.
But like that's the one sport where I just know the Blue Jackets. I really don't know much else around there.
You guys had some pretty epic interviews with Tortorella, though.
He's
the year you guys the year they upset the Lightning. The last year, like the Lightning lost before the Stanley Cup was when the Blue Jackets swept them in the opening round.
Yeah, it was
ESPN Cleveland had like Tortorella on like 3 times, and it was the dump button was on fire.
Did not. He had no filter. Like we would tell him, like, dude, this is live radio, and he didn't care. So he'd always be on with Riz and just not. And like the thing was, he would drop a F-bomb or something like that, not even let the delay reset, and then drop another one. And we're just like, all right, well, what are you gonna do with him? But yeah, he was definitely a trip. He was a fun guy.
So, okay. I know we're at the 30-minute mark and we'll get done here, but I got a coolest interview you've gotten to do. And to start out with that,
sure.
Person you've got to talk to, like, you're like, holy shit, I just interviewed that guy or girl.
The first one for me, like, I usually have 2 answers to this one, because like the first one, I'm a huge Batman nerd. So I read all,
and it's okay.
Yeah, like I read all the comics. So I got a chance to interview a guy named Kevin Conroy. He was the voice of Batman on the animated series in the 90s, which made me a fan. So like that was me just totally geeking, freaking out. Like I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. As far as sports wise goes, probably Mario Andretti. I got a chance to interview him a couple of years ago, and he talked obviously when the Cleveland Grand Prix was up here a lot. And I just thought, I'm like, I never thought that, my career would go that way. Like necessarily, there's a lot of Cleveland sports, legends and all that kind of stuff that I've gotten a chance to talk to or interview. But that one was, I'm like, I just never thought that would cross my desk for the opportunity to talk to Mario Andretti. So those are probably my top 2.
That's really absolute. Cool. Yeah, Mario Andretti would definitely be that. I mean, I'm not even a big car guy, but everyone knows. If you've lived under a rock, you know who Mario Andretti is, or the Andretti family in general. So barbecue guy?
I'd rather eat it than make it. When I was back on RBS with Riz, he and Casey Coulis was the producer with me. So Casey was a huge barbecue guy.
Casey was the barbecue guy, brisket every day.
Yeah, and he would, and so he'd bring it in. So like Drod and I were the victors go the spoils, I guess, because they'd bring it in and we just eat it. So my brother-in-law smokes meat. I love it. I love brisket. I love ribs.
What's your go-to, man? You go to a barbecue. What you got? Brisket, pork, chicken, ribs, like
brisket. Brisket, and Casey was always big on just salt, pepper, smoke. So like no sauce, no, not even necessarily some other rubs, and I've had some that have been really good with, other rubs and that kind of stuff, but he was a big just salt, pepper, smoke kind of guy. So,
If my buddy from Texas is watching, I want to get so much shit over that.
Sorry, send it to Casey. That was all Casey. Like,
yeah,
Casey,
FPG Texas
so
smoke, man. Like, that's all it is. Like,
yeah.
I love it, though, but I mean, it's like it lets the art. I get it. Yeah, I like playing. I'm a flavor guy. I like playing with flavors, but if you're really good at your craft, salt, pepper, garlic, smoke, like, and that's all you need. Like, you should like. That's good.
And Casey was legit, like, and that's kind of where I think I disassociate. Like, I'm not good with it because he was just like meticulous, right? About, obviously, I know the temperature's important in the box, and like, then he apple cider vinegar spray, when do you wrap it, all that kind of. I get it, and like, I just am an extremely impatient person.
So it's not for you, man.
It's not for me, man. I don't know, because it's like we'd have some stuff, and even my brother-in-law, when we have like family parties, he's like, "Yeah, I woke up at 4 this morning because I had to put it on, get ready for the party." I was like, "You just call me when it's done."
Yeah,
because I'll come eat it all day.
Tomorrow, I'll be over tomorrow.
I'll come eat it all day, but I can't do it. I can't. Like I said, I enjoy it very much. So like, that's another thing too. I think there is like a little growing barbecue scene up here. So if you're looking for good barbecue, there's a couple spots to stop in and try. So that's kind of more up my alley. Let the experts take care of it, and I'll just eat.
Yeah, I mean, you got Mabel's Barbecue right down the street from Progressive, where Michael Simon's like recipes are at. By the way, did you see he's got like a 12-pack or something going on right now, man? Like, he put like an Instagram selfie of like his 8-pack yesterday, dude, and he is jacked.
Oh, Michael,
up.
Yeah, no, Michael's because I got a chance to know him pretty well just back on my RBS days, and he is a cool dude. Like he really he's cool. He's a really cool dude. He like reps Cleveland so hard, he loves it. But he's like very interesting from that standpoint, right? Like, I know he's obviously real big into the meats, but you can talk to him about, fitness and even understanding. Obviously, he's not real big in vegan and all that kind of stuff, but understanding the side of that and all that. And he is right. I just like him on Twitter too, because he answers so many people's questions. I just think it's cool when he's on there. But yeah, Mabel's good.
He's the ultimate Talking Cleveland Tuesday for Chef Simon. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll shoot him. I'll get him a message to you.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh dude, if you do that, man, I'll bring you a brisket too.
Oh, anytime.
Right up the ESPN, right on your show, man. We'll be like, bring me on. We're eating brisket. Let's go.
All right, I'll shoot him a message for you. I'll get you on. But
man.
Yeah, Mabel's is where it's at. They got Proper Pig, which we really like. There's Landmark Smokehouse that just opened up on West 117th. So that's another kind of emerging scene.
And there's one over, oh god, it's somewhat close to the Garfield Heights side. It's off. It's called like Smoking Oak or something.
Oak and Embers.
Oak and Embers.
Yeah, because that's Riz actually knows them really well.
Dude, I had a shank roast there, man. It was delicious.
Yeah, they have good barbecue there too. And then there's another truck too, Billy Morris. He is a musician actually, but he owns Smoke and Rock and Roll as the food truck, and they've done a couple of stuff with us too. And they just, like I said, that's the stuff I'm for. It's like, just bring it, I'll eat it, but there's no way I'm gonna have the patience to sit there for 8 hours and make sure that it comes out because, like,
I enjoy it, man.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. Like, I appreciate people that can do that because Casey is like meticulous about getting.
It's not for everybody. It's really not.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, did Casey do a pellet or did he do like an actual pit, like an actual stick?
He had a pit. So he had a couple different smokers during the time because he did venture out. He started his own barbecue, basically kind of company. And at that point, he bought a competition smoker off of somebody. So he was, really into it. And then I think the pandemic hit. Obviously, meat prices went through the roof and all that kind of stuff. But he was real big into. He definitely did. Riz had a pellet smoker. I know Riz was working that because he had one of the.
He would.
Yeah, he was just more about like the dye. He did get a Chris Marks one though.
I'm just picking on Riz, man.
Yeah, I love doing it too.
I feel like he's a guy you can just sit there and just bust his balls all day, and he's like, I'll just bust yours back, man. Like,
he will. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a lot of fun too, just to kind of sit there and just BS with because he's got stories for days too on stuff.
He's sure. Yeah, he knows. He's probably forgot more than anybody will ever remember. Man.
Yeah, he's got a lot. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff.
Well, I'll definitely get you back on here, man. I know it's not. We got to cut this off because the longer we talk, the worse the lead gets.
Yeah, it's going bad right now, so
it's not good. But hey, man, what was good was the conversation with you, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on here with us. And this is how it's so hard to do these shows in under 30 minutes, man. It really is because Cleveland is. it's just a cool place, man. It's a really
For
cool
sure.
place to live and a cool place to be. But you have a great one, man. Have
Thanks,
a
Tony.
great week at work. A lot of positive things, man. In playoffs are, even if there's still a loss, we're still talking playoffs in October, baby. Let's go. NBA season's around the corner, baby.
I love it. Browns is turning around too. We'll be all right.
That's right, baby.
There, yeah.
Hey, Browns are going to. Who we got again Sunday? That's how bad I am. Who
Patriots, New England.
Oh yeah, I already forgot about her.
Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. We'll have to see, but that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, still, like you said,
I hope it's Mac Jones, but it's a good one for us to get back on track and get up to 3-3, and that changes the outlook on a lot. I'm going to go Browns are going to win this one 24-20. I don't know, something crazy.
I like it. That sounds good.
No field goals. I want Cade York out of this one.
Completely. He just needs a nice little easy game, some extra points, and maybe
can we get the guy 5 more freaking yards with Chubb and Hunt before we kick these 55-yarders and putting it all on the rookie?
And that's the tough thing is like he's got the leg. That one, it was just I asked him after, he's like, I just pushed him, man, and that's
I get it. He's got the leg, but can we all agree that a 45-yarder seems a little bit more feasible than a 54?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like they can't be relying on him most of the time to do it.
Just let Chubb get your 3.
You got to. Yeah, they got to run.
Scenario, you're going to get a yard.
Right.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, they got to run. They got to run better, and they got to stop the run. That's pretty much going to be it.
All right. Anyway, Browns win 24-20, moving to 3-3. They're going to win it out, win the Super Bowl after the Indians win the World Series, and the Cavs win the NBA championship. And Cleveland will be the city of champions. And we will drink a lot of Cleveland whiskey and a lot of whatever beer that you want, Matt. We'll try to drink it all. But
challenge accepted.
The wives will just have to understand, man. It's all good. But dudes and dudettes, thank you so much. Until next Tuesday, talking with Cleveland. We'll see you next time right here on the Dude.